I am on a mission to make sure that women I'm on a mission to make sure that women are rising, they are rebuilding, they are building legacies, and that they're getting their money right. So that is what I am here for. Not only women, but also their children. We make sure that their children are well equipped financially with knowledge, with resources to make sure that they make the right financial decisions so that they succeed. So I've introduced these lunch and learn lessons, which will take place once a month, where we just get together, grab your cup of coffee, cup of tea, juice, whatever or your lunch. The aim is that if you're on your lunch break and you're working from home, we can come and talk. You can hear something different just to break that workflow, day, and you learn something new. And my sincere hope is that you come away from this session feeling empowered, feeling like you've learned something new, and feeling like you can get your finances under control. So today is about habits that are keeping us broke. Habits that are keeping us broke. Now, right off the bat, I want to say there's this common misconception that it's the amount of money that you have that's keeping you broke. So let's squash that. Let's squash it right now and say broke isn't an income problem. Being broke is not an income problem. That's not your problem, not at all. I know many of us keep thinking that if I earn a little bit more, if I cut my expenses more, if I save more, I am going to be wealthy. But actually, the amount of money that comes in is not the problem. Your income is not the problem. Essentially, you and I are the problem. We are the problem. And every time I always repeat it and say on this channel, at any given time, when I'm talking, when I say you, I mean me. I'm talking, this is for me. So don't feel any way, don't feel judged. This is a safe space. We come in and we talk because actually this is like a diary to myself, a reflection to myself. Because I wish I could say that I've passed all these things, but I'm not. I am learning, I am growing, and you know what? I feel empowered every step of the way, and I know I am going to make it. So we are going to make it. I'm not going to make it alone, because if I make it alone, who am I going to actually lunch with in the streets of, I don't know, Monaco on a Friday afternoon, because we've got that much wealth, because we've got that much income stream? I cannot do it alone. I need you to also be wealthy so we can be out here lunching for real. So guys, feel free to put any messages in the chat, any reactions as I go to cheer me on. I would really appreciate it. But so that it doesn't feel like I'm just talking to nobody. And if you want, please, if you've got bandwidth and you want to share your screen, show yourself, that would be awesome as well. So I've got 15 habits that I'm gonna talk about today. I don't know if I'm gonna go through them. Some I am more passionate about, and you hear me. If I catch myself and say to myself, actually, it's time to move on to the next. But let's get going. So habit number one. So just to recap, I know if you have joined, is just to say that being broke is not an income problem. That is not an income problem. You have other problems, but it's not an income problem, right? So let's go to number one, emotional spending. One of your number one issues while you are broke is emotional spending. And it's really important for us to have an audit of what it is, what causes us to spend. You need to start to really take a moment to understand what are your triggers, what are your emotional patterns, and really, really think about it. I want you to start to take some time out to just observe yourself, reflect on your what you're doing. Just say to yourself, okay, what happened? Was it late at night when I clicked on Amazon? Was I feeling some type of way? Was I sad? Was I happy? What was I feeling when I bought that thing that I really didn't need? What time of the month is it? That's also really important. We underestimate our hormones, but they have a big part to play. So what's going on? So I want you to take a audit of what's going on when you spend. When you are spending because of emotion, not because you need something or something that you have saved up or have a plan to, but you just felt the urge to spend. So take a look at what is causing you to emotionally spend. Try and understand what those patterns are, what the triggers are, so that you can start to put into place practices and strategies that will help you curb that spending. I will always align to the word, and the word in Proverbs 20 for this particular emotional spending. Take a look at Proverbs 25 verse 28. Now, you will get an email with a summary of all these, but I would love it if you are jotting these down, because it's really important to take some time away from these sessions and actually get into the word and actually reflect and actually do the exercises that come with these things, so that you can change, so that this hour that you've committed and invested in yourself will be worth it, that it will actually change your life. Because if anything, I know, and that leads to probably, let me just go straight into habit number 2, is procrastination. Procrastination will keep you broke. Now, procrastination takes many, many forms. It's sometimes people think it's just the act of not doing anything, but sometimes it comes from paralysis analysis. You've read 10 books about the thing. You've listened to 100 podcasts about the subject matter. You've come onto these lunch and learns and webinars and Zooms and you keep researching, but you're actually not putting anything into action. That is also part of procrastination. And I want you to take a look. Also, again, there's a lot of things that you're going to come away from the session with me saying, please, can you take a look at this? Because that's how actually knowledge isn't power unless applied. Knowledge is not power unless applied. So therefore, we're going to come away from this lunch and learn, and we're going to start to think about all these things I've discussed, right? And we're actually going to take some time to do something about it. Because no matter how much knowledge you get, a little bit like this exact habit where you keep analyzing, where you keep researching, it's about that new business you want to start, that opportunity that's there, the new promotion that you want to go for. The more you keep talking to people, the business you want to start, the book you want to write, the more you just keep talking to people, keep reading, keep listening, and not doing anything about it, you're going nowhere. You are going nowhere. Action is essential. You need to act. Procrastination is going to keep you broke. Delaying life decisions. That's it. It's part of procrastination. You keep delaying. Oh, I'll change a job when my child is 5. Oh, I'll change my job when my child goes to high school. Oh, life is happening, sis. Life is happening. And if you keep delaying the decisions, you're not going to get wealthy that way. You are going to have to make some decisions and stop procrastination. And it says, with this one, honestly, you need to take a look at the things that you just keep. I think, especially now, I feel like people have moved some people have moved away from not doing anything to actually just analysis paralysis. Perfection. You're trying to get a perfect condition to start something. I'm telling you now, the perfect condition might not come anytime soon. So are you going to keep waiting for this thing that you've built in your head as a perfect scenario of you to be able to do the things that you know you've been called to do, understand they can make your life better, and potentially are extra sources of income? So stop procrastinating. Start to actually do the doing. It's so important. This is one of the key things that will keep you broke. Let's move on. We move on to poverty mindset. Now, this one is quite sneaky, because until you understand what your mindset is about money, you might not realize that you actually don't believe that you can have wealth. You actually don't believe. Now, I'll put these habits into 2, because second to that is not believing that you can be wealthy. It's really important that you start to really understand that you can be wealthy. This state of being broke is not acceptable, is not normal, and is not your lane. It's not what God intended for you. So stop acting like it's your best friend and clinging onto it, because it really isn't. It really, really isn't. In fact, it's that friend that is so good at making you feel miserable, yet you keep going to it. That's what broke friend is. That's broke bestie right there. Clinching onto something that is not worth it. It's not your friend. So I need you to understand that you and I were made to be great. You and I were made to be wealthy. Now, I know some people have grown up in churches, Christian in spaces where they're told that wealth is not a good thing, it's greedy. But God Himself said we have abundance. He promised us everything. He said in Genesis that I've given you dominion over everything. Everything. Do you know what everything means? And I think we start to be conditioned as we grow up, as we are not as we experience life, as life is lifing, we start to feel like, no, I'm okay with just this little bit. I remember I used to say that I'm okay. I just want to be comfortable. I just want to be comfortable. That was my mindset. But what I've realized is that average is unacceptable. Comfortable is unacceptable. You're going to be wealthy because you are abundant. It's all about abundance. And this is taken from Philippians 4, verse 19, and also Proverbs 23, verse 7. These are verses that are telling us we are worthy to be wealthy. Let nobody tell you. And sometimes you've come from a family that doesn't believe it. But you, sis, you and I are going to be the first people to believe it and do it. And I know it's not easy. It really isn't easy when everybody you know doesn't truly believe that we can be wealthy. It's keeping you broke. Do you know when we start to normalize amounts, and I don't want to say big amounts because they're not big, but we've started to say to ourselves, certain amounts are big. If I was to say, oh, here, Alex, I got 100,000 for you, just give it to me whenever you can. Imagine that. That's the level at which we should be talking. Not thinking, oh my gosh, if I give Chennai 10 pounds, oh my goodness, how, it's making you feel all sorts types of way just for 10 pounds. No, we're hundreds of thousands, a million. That's where we should be. And you must believe it. And that takes intentionally doing something about it. How many of you don't even go into certain shops? You do not go into them because you believe you can't afford, you don't belong there. And that's the simple thing that I ask you that you start to do. Start to go into those shops. Start to go into places and spaces where you've always believed that you can't afford or you don't belong there. That's my assignment. That is one of the things I ask you to do. Go out there. And you know what's incredibly ironic is that you can go into these places for free. Go into the shop, go in there, look around, smell the perfumes, try on the dresses, right? Start there. Go for test drives. Believe it. Do you know you don't have to pay anything, but we have become so accustomed to believing that we don't belong or we are not worthy that we step away, we shy ourselves away from spaces and places that we have dominion over. So stop believing the lie that you cannot be wealthy. Stop believing the lie that you do not belong or cannot fit in any place or any space. You belong there. You're promised abundance. This habit must stop. We must stop believing that we don't belong, we cannot be wealthy, we cannot be abundant. That mindset will keep you broke. So I challenge you in the next few weeks, go test out that car, go smell the perfume in that shop, go try on the clothes in that place. Do whatever it is that you have always thought you don't belong. You know, there are certain restaurants and shops you might be like, oh my goodness, I can't go in there. Have a cup of coffee. Just go in there. It's about starting to exercise the muscle and the mindset that says, I am wealthy. I believe I belong. I am because I am. So I encourage you to do that. So that was 3 and 4, I think. Now, also, the other thing that I've really had to really understand for myself is that I've just talked about believing for yourself that you can be wealthy. The other habit, actually, and I honestly didn't believe this until I started to understand it a bit more, is that you don't trust God with money. That is a habit that's going to keep you poor. God is the source of everything. Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6, take a read of that. God is the source of everything, and we are his resource. Therefore, as his the source, resource is the resource. You are a resource. You and I are a resource. God is the source. Now, if we do not trust God, if we do not believe that God will provide us this wealth, you're not going to get it. It's as simple as that. You're not going to get it. So start to trust. I've been really, and this is a conviction I recently got. I've been singing. Some of you know the song like, I trust in God. I've been singing it to the rooftop. Then I started to really realize that actually, concerning not only money, but a lot of things here, I don't trust. I'm not trusting because my actions, my words are actually not trusting God. So it's important for you to trust God because he has said you'll be exceedingly abundantly, that you are wealthy, that he has called you, I am, like he did. You need to really believe in the word. Soak yourself in the word. Now, if you don't know, I have a guide on, it's called Money with God. And this guide has multiple verses concerning how you think, what your mindset is as on money, how you make money, and it's just got verses upon verses. Do subscribe to it. Do get the guide because there is truth in the actual word. The Bible is one of the greatest manuals that you'll ever get to being wealthy. Literally, many things God has said in there. I will give you the power to make wealth. Deuteronomy. He says that. So why are we going around looking all over the place when we can look to God and we can look in the word? So I encourage you. The other thing that's going to keep you broke, if we move a little bit over from the mindset piece, we're going to look at no boundaries with your money. You are not going to be able to be wealthy if you don't have boundaries with your money. Now, what does this really mean? This means not learning to say no. When you cannot afford something, you cannot afford to go out with your friends, or you cannot afford to buy your mom the thing that you really want. But if you don't have the money, you cannot do it. You're going to have to take a look at your yeses and your nos really deeply. Because if you're ever going to make it, if you're ever going to make the kind of wealth that we are promised, you need to set some boundaries. And some of the boundaries are to you. You and I need to set some boundaries to ourselves before we even look out and think about everyone else. Yourself. Did you really need that chocolate from the corner shop that costs double the amount? Did you need that extra pair of shoes? Did your child need the sixth dress when they don't even wear dresses? Do you need to keep buying food and then wasting it? You are going to have to learn to say no to self. Does that remind you of something? Self-control. One of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. This is one of them. If you're going to be wealthy, if you're going to break this brokenness, you are going to have to exercise self-control. I'm talking to me more than I'm talking to you right now, because the chocolate in the corner shop has a chokehold on me right now. And I'm going to have to stop because it doesn't make sense. I can't, on one hand, be saying I'm trying to grow something. I'm trying to, invest. I'm trying to make my money stretch, and still having all these little leaks that amount to a lot. So please, please really assess your no's and your yeses. They're really important because they are going to help you. And the beauty of a no now, you say no now to so many things, especially when it concerns family. Saying no now means that at a later stage, in a couple of years, you are going to have so much money, your yeses are going to be so big. Saying no now is the difference in you building yourself financially, a steady foundation for yourself, starting to invest, starting to make profit, and then being able to then buy your mom, your dad, your family, your siblings. You will be able to take them on holidays. You'll be able to build them houses, buy them cars, all those things that you really yearn for. You will be able to do if first of all, you say no. The no is only temporary. The no is only short term. Remember that. It's not forever. It's not a forever thing. It's just for now, for you to build your capacity, for you to build your reserves, for you to build your foundation. And then from there, I tell you what, you're going to be able to do so many more things. So have boundaries with your money. Matthew 5, verse 37. Boundaries with money. Right. Next habit. Not using your gifts. Now, God gives us different talents. You know the parable of the talents. If you don't, take a look at it. And it says in there, for each one of us has been given a talent. We all have gifts. Now, it's down to you whether you use that gift or you don't. So you not using a gift is keeping you broke. One of the reasons why God gives us just gifts is that so that we can use them. Use them for the good of others, number one, but also use them for the good of yourself. You're going to be able to make profit from that, right? You're going to be able to make profit from that gift. That's going to enable you to grow financially. It's going to be able to help others. So use your gifts and don't overlook your gifts. Some people are so talented with their hands. They can sew, they can cook, they can do hair, they can change a tire, they can do gardening. So many gifts that you have, but you have to start to use them, to monetize on them. It's important because those gifts are not meant to die with you. They are meant to help you. The power to create wealth. Those things are there for you to use. Monetize your gifts. Proverbs 18, verse 16. You've got skills right where you are. You don't need to keep accumulating certificates, degrees. Like I said, going back to the procrastination, resources, you need to start to use your gifts. Use your gifts. In the workplace, be known. Be known. Be known, because you need to be visible. They need to know you. They need to know you so that you can keep climbing that ladder, so that you can keep getting promotions, so that you can start to speak to the key stakeholders that can change and recognize you for your gifts. Monetize. So whenever you find yourself, whether in the career space, in the preneur space, be sure to be using the gifts that you have and be sure to be visible. because nobody is going to find you in your house. Nobody. Just sitting at home, reading away, or doing whatever you're doing. You're going to have to be visible. It's important in every aspect. The CEO must know your name. Because when the promotion round comes, best believe they're going to say, oh, I remember that Rumbi, she spoke at that meeting. She had some good points. Do you think she could be up for promotion? Use your gifts. Some of you are doing things for your family for free. A lot of things. Have you ever considered making money? Not necessarily to just them. I think my relatives, when they see this, they'll think there's nothing that she can give for free. Not at all. They could actually be your first people that you'd practice your skill on, and then say, actually, hang on, I've done Rumbi's hair a couple of times. Maybe I could get someone else to do. Maybe I can get someone to pay me. But be sure to go back to Rumbi and make her pay next time, okay? But yes, monetize your gifts. The other habit that's keeping you broke is ignoring your debt. Now, if you know me, heard about me, debt was it's my major point of it's what started this journey. It's the foundation of why we started Harvest Family Finance, the passion in getting people debt free, because God has promised us to be free. He says, I have set you free and you should be free indeed. Yet we are being choked up with debt. We have nooses around our necks because of debt. And it's important that we let this debt go so that we can be free, so that we can start to build, so that we can start to actually make a difference in our finances positively. So stop ignoring your debt. Have a plan. What are you going to do? How am I going to get myself out? And I have plenty of resources on that. If you take a look at our website, I've got resources, I've got books. It's important that you start to acknowledge your debt. Do not ignore it. Take a look at it, put a plan together. It's going to take a while, but you cannot keep taking from where you should be sowing and putting it into the past. It's important to be sowing forward and not sowing backwards. So do not ignore your debt. Proverbs 22, verse 7. Another thing just linked to that, another habit is not being financially present. What I mean by that is that not having a clue what's happening with your money, not having a budget, not knowing where your money goes, not knowing what money comes in, what money goes out. You need to have systems. You're going to stay broke if you do not have systems. You need to have systems in place. You need to have a budget. You need to automate your savings, your debt repayment if you have it. Automation is your friend. Have systems, have a clear strategy on how you're managing your money. Every single bit, down to the last cent, dollar, whatever you use in your country, be sure to have a system to manage your debt. Do not ignore it. Ignoring it is the sure habit that will keep you broke. So I went from debt to being present, but it's so interlinked. If you're ignoring your debt, the chances are you're ignoring where you are right now. So it's really important to live with a plan. Habakkuk 2, verse 2. Write it down and make it plain. Have a budget in place. Know what money comes in and what money goes out. It's essential. Right. Now I'm just going to run through the rest of the 15 because I also want to keep time for any questions, any discussions, because it's really important that I've said a lot of things here. And there are things that need time and effort. There are things that need you to really go back and just, especially as we end this year, just take the rest of this year, just looking through, take an audit, look at your bank statements. Well, how is my money really going? Where is it going? What plan do I have in place at the moment? Just take some time to really review all of these things, to sit down and say, okay, if you've got an account you use a lot. So let's say I'll use Amazon. If you buy from Amazon a lot, just take some time out to just take a look from January to right now, November. How much have you bought? And I want you to take a look at what are the things that you bought. Are there any patterns emerging? Are there any times you are buying more of it? And start to have a conversation with yourself. So going forward, are you allowing this this company that someone else is getting money from, is it allowing you, are you going to allow it to keep you broke? No, you're not. No, you're not. So I want you to take some time to look at that. So some of the other habits that are, they're more common and they're spoken about, but it's essential that we keep repeating because they are the small things that keep us broke. Some of them are not even small, but let me say them. So impulse buying, Galatians 5, verse 22 to 23. Not planning for emergencies. This one is really important. Proverbs 22, verse 3. Why you are also broke is because every time you have an emergency, you have to grab for money you don't have, or you have to grab for money from other people, which comes with interest. So if we have emergency funds, if we have money set aside for emergencies, we are going to be able to cover emergencies with this money and not keep digging into credit cards, into loans, into loan sharks, all sorts of things, borrowing left, right, and center. It will stop that habit. It will stop that cycle if we have some emergencies in place. Avoiding financial knowledge. Make sure you're getting yourself educated on finances, on money, on what to do with money. There are books, resources. I have plenty of books on my website. As I said, I have courses that are available. There are plenty of things on YouTube for you to really get into there, start to learn. If you've never done a budget, if you don't know anything about investing or anything like that, start to learn. Lack of knowledge in this technology age, in this AI age, is unacceptable. That habit, you need to be learning. You need to be constantly learning about the different things. And that's another habit. Like, don't keep doing the same things. Learn to be curious. Learn to go into other places and spaces. Learn to speak to people outside your circle. Learn to go to an event where you know no one and they're talking about something. Go to it. Find out what that's about. Grow yourself. It's important to invest in yourself. And that curiosity, that learning, that investing in yourself is one of the key habits of wealthy people. They're constantly learning. And I really want to say that be sure not to stay in the same things all the time. We have this, it's comfortable, it's nice, it's safer. Join groups that have people that don't look like you. Be part of those groups, be part of those events, be part of what they're doing. Go to places where you see that you're the only person that looks like you. Learn something that no one in your family has ever learned. Have a couple of friends outside of your community friends that you always have. Expose yourself. Try hobbies that are outside of what is your comfort zone or what in your community is considered the comfort zone. Do something different. Learn something new. It's important. Those are the habits of wealthy people. They're constantly going outside of their comfort zone. There's no comfort zone. They're constantly learning new things, constantly curious, constantly finding and learning different things. I really encourage you to do that. Also, spending before saving, Proverbs 21, verse 20, which links to, having an emergency fund. If you are saving and you have money set aside, it's going to set you up well. Savings are really important because they are a buffer zone. They help you in the short term. They're really important to have because they are a buffer zone. I'll keep saying it because it's important. Without that buffer zone, you will constantly find yourself going back to your old habits. And that's what we're trying to break. We're essentially trying to unlearn all these things I've spoken about today and start to put in new habits, new practices, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. It's so important. Particularly, a lot of us have a lot of unlearning. There are things that we grew up being told, or we think, or our community believes and think, and it takes a lot to start to think outside of that. So there's a lot of unlearning. And lastly, always have a budget. It's so important to know where every single penny is going. So you're broke not because of the amount of money that comes into your hands, but because of the habits that you have. What you actually do with the money when it comes into your hands. How are you stewarding your money? That's where the real problem is. That's where you're going to either make it or you're not. So it's really important that you look at your habits, keep what's good, unlearn what is useless, and get rid of that is making you fail. Now, that's what I had to share with you today. It was so important that we have this discussion, because I think we sometimes get so bogged down with, I need to earn more money. But what we really need to focus on are those things that I've spoken about. And I just want to say that it's really important that we go away and start to apply knowledge into action. I have just put together a course, a 6-week course called Financial Empowerment, that I want people to start 2026 on. It's a course that asks for action. And I won't lie to you, unless you want to act, it's not for you. We want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. Like I said to you, I don't want to be wealthy by myself and have no one to go and do all the lovely things that money can do. I want us to go together. So I've put together a course. It's something that you do by yourself. It's a 6 weeks course. It looks at how your mindset, it gives you exercises to really understand how you think, what you really think about money, how you value money. It talks about how you can make money, how you can make more money, how to monetize your gifts. It talks about investing. There is beauty in understanding how compound interest works. It's a magical thing that a lot of us are not taught. And it's important that you start to really understand this. So this 6-week course will be landing in the middle of December. We're going to have some early tickets that are going to come out for you to get your hold on it, but it will start in 2026. And I've intentionally don't want it to start on the 1st of January, because we all get so excited about new goals, new you, that by the end of January, 31st of January, we've already started to go back into the old habits. So it goes live the first week of February, because I want you'll have gone through your December lao, your Christmas lao, and the January disease, which we're not going to have. That's all habits, by the way. All of that has all gone. You've got time to now focus and really start to put in place the things that you need to do to make sure that November 2026, you and I will be sat here. In fact, maybe we won't be sat here. Maybe we'll actually be lunching together. That's how awesome this is going to be. But we will be in a much different place. You would have paid off some debt. You'll be feeling more comfortable with where your finances are. You will know what's happening with your money. You will have understood and have started how to start other income streams to make sure that you have more coming in. You will be able to manage your money. You will have unlearned some unhealthy habits. So thank you so much for joining. It's Rumbi, the financial educator and author of Harvest Finance. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much, Rue.
Thank you.